how long to hold pressure when we give Shiatsu is important. When I first learned Shiatsu, and the original books that were written said that you could hold the pressure for about 3 to 7 seconds, and the application was at about 7 to 10 pounds of pressure. And I think that's a good guideline, generally speaking. However, it really doesn't take into consideration what the body wants. It doesn't take into consideration really how the body is reacting. So we need to be sensitive to that. With that in mind, we can apply pressure in a way that is in conjunction with what the body is actually asking for. The purpose of applying the pressure is to change the key, either increase key, decrease key, or move key. And so first we have this more mechanical guideline. Seven to 10 pounds of pressure held for 3 to 7 seconds. And when we do that, it actually just gives a surface stimulation. That's what we need to understand. But to contact the body in a way that it accepts the stimulation and then distributes it on a deep level, then we need to have a different kind of perception of what we're doing when we apply pressure. When we apply pressure, we apply the pressure to a depth where we feel a resistance. And we meet that resistance and notice it. We hold, and then we wait until the resistance dissolves. When that resistance dissolves, that means the body is inviting us to go deeper. And so then we can sink in deeper. And what that tells us is the body is now taking that stimulation and distributing it on a deeper level. We can say press to resistance. Something like this. Let's say that this is our tsubo. And any place in the body can be a tsubo. Here's the surface of the body, and we apply the pressure. And at some point, as we go in, we feel a sensation that's like a barrier. There we meet that barrier, we wait, and then we will feel it dissolve. This can happen instantaneously. It can take 5, 10, 20 seconds. Sometimes we hold that barrier and we notice it doesn't want to give way, and what we can assess from that is that the body's not really ready to accept or to allow us in at that place. If we go into a tsubo too fast and too deep, what happens is the resistance gets stronger. The body really wants to keep us outside. So therefore, again, we have this more surface stimulation, but we haven't really gone deep. When we feel this changeover, we feel the barrier dissolving. We get the sensation that the stimulation that we're offering to the body is now spreading throughout. The body's accepting it, distributing it. And this change from a barrier to accepting, we can call this a switch. The switch is something that shows us that there's been an energetic change. Of course, the tissue, the muscle, has reacted and softened, but all that happens because behind the chi is changing the mechanism of the body and allowing the body to accept that stimulation. Now, actually, the physiology of the switch is that when we press and this barrier occurs, the barrier is a sympathetic reaction, flight and fight reaction that's saying, what is this? It's a stimulation, but I don't know what it is, so I'm going to keep it outside myself. So this is sympathetic, or in the old days, called orthosympathetic. And when we feel the dissolving of the barrier, this becomes parasympathetic. I'll just put para. For reasons that I'm not going to explain now, but I have explained extensively in some of the other writings like the Shiatsu Shintai book, the parasympathetic is an agent of the governing vessel, conception vessel. Governing vessel, conception vessel is the most ancient energy flow of the body. And it's from the governing vessel, conception vessel, that all the other meridians emerge. All the rest of the energy system emerges. So we can say, and what is said in some of the writings, is that the governing vessel, conception vessel, regulates all of the meridians and all of the body's energies. It's kind of a global way to contact all the energy of the body through a mechanism that works to balance the energy of the body. Just to review, the mechanical, it's a good starting guideline, but then we need to become sensitive to what the body is actually asking for. We feel the resistance, we wait for the body to accept, the resistance dissolves, and we have this reaction that activates the governing vessel and then enables the working of the body's process to balance energy. So I'll make a little bit of a demonstration of that now. So just to briefly demonstrate, and I'll do that on myself. It would be more ideal to practice this on someone else, but it's also okay to practice on yourself. We just apply the pressure, and what we now do is connect our perception of the sensation as we go in, and there we come to a place where we can feel the body saying, okay, wait there for a minute. Just wait there. And if we bring our attention to where our finger is, or our thumb, we'll notice that barrier sensation. And as we hold, there's a softening. And as there's a softening, there's a spreading sensation. On the nervous system level, this is where the sympathetic is holding, it's softening and releasing, and then the parasympathetic is inviting in and connecting to the whole body. So we hold, and then as we feel the barrier release, we sink in because the body's inviting. And that's where we have a connection to the body that distributes the chi, the change on a deeper level. Start at the surface and be aware of the surface. So when you practice this, just start with your hand as light as possible. There's the surface. And now gradually applying pressure so you feel the gradation of change. And to the point of pressure. Now, if it creates pain because it's too quick, too strong, too sudden, it's going to make that barrier reaction even stronger. And that's why we want to be aware of this. When the barrier dissolves, we're invited in, we can sink in further, and what we can know from that is that then there's this connection on a deeper level. Now, if we're working with specific meridians or other specific body energies, still, the fact that we've contacted the body in this way, and we've stimulated this parasympathetic governing vessel, conception vessel mechanism deep in the body, then it's going to make other work that we do that much more effective. This idea of the barrier to the release and acceptance is actually something that's working in all the techniques we do. The next one I'm going to demonstrate in a future film will be the stretching technique.